you guys want to tell us a little bit about where you were born and where you were raised?
Cali.
Yeah.
Oh, all parts of California.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we all brought like something different. I'm from the South Bay area. You know what I mean? He's from Pasadena.
Yeah.
And we just all over LA.
How did you guys all come together to meet?
What happened was, it was a dance scene in LA. It's kind of loosely called the trendy scene. And there's a lot of people that was birthed out of that scene. Like, we all was dancers and DJs and shit, and people started becoming producers and movie producers and directors and actors and rappers and DJs and shit. And we all was in, like, he called it like hip-hop school. The clubs. The club scene, because that's when we was getting our stripes. And it was the age of being in college. And some of us were in college, some of us were working, but we was getting stripes, like learning how the business works and meeting people that's in the business and hearing their stories and shit like that. And we were dancing a long time. We were choreographers.
Oh,
like
really?
Our first trade was choreography. Rapping is the second thing.
Yeah.
Like, we was making money dancing. Like, that's how we ate. It was dancing. It was no rapping involved. And then it got to the point where we like maximized on the dancing and was like, we can make some music. And people used to trip off of our voices, and they would be like, man, y'all should make some music. And then for a long time we was like, later for that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then it was like, we started doing some demos and shit. And we had an opportunity, and it was like, well, let's try it. And it worked out. And we was like, the stage and performing, it was like second nature. But making music was something new to us. So we had to go back to school, not real school, but back to hip hop school to figure out the drum machines, how to make music, how to write songs, what's happening in the hip hop. We was living this shit, you know what I mean? The actual real story is we went to this thing called the New Music Seminar, no, not New Music Seminar, the Gavin. It was in the Bay Area in the early 90s, like maybe 91 or 90 maybe? No, 90. We were the backup dancers. The homie was the hype man, and there was this guy named Gang of Textbooks was the name of the group, GOT. And this guy named Bumpy, he was like a baller. Like, he had money, and he was putting his money into this dude, but the guy wasn't really like, I'm not gonna say he wasn't talented, but he didn't want it. He could see that we wanted it, but we wasn't fucking with him because he was a cool guy, but it was some shady business going on. He was kind of like pre-Suge Knight. And he wanted to fuck with us, but we was like, nah, we knew better. And but we learned a lot from him, and he helped us out and stuff. And we hooked up with this guy named Reggie Andrews. Reggie Andrews helped produce the Daz Band and Rick James, and he had a lot of ties with A&M Records, and he had an after-school program that he ran out of Inglewood, and we weren't officially a part of that program. We just used to go kick it, right? And it, like, to say why we was there, I can't really honestly tell you why I was there. I ended up there.
Yeah.
He ended up there. And the other homies ended up there, and it was just a place we kicked it. And we just were lucky. It was mostly singers and producers, and we were the only rap group there. And everybody used to hate on us. And we smoked weed. And it's when weed wasn't cool to smoke. Yeah. And so we have meetings every Thursday or something. We'd come in there smelling like cess, because we didn't have enough money to buy chronic yet. Right. So we was smoking dirt weed. Yeah. So it made our clothes stink and shit. Yeah. So every time we'd be in the meetings, motherfuckers be like, these motherfuckers, they smoke too much weed, and they stupid. But every time we had a show, we rip everybody's shit, right? So everybody's like, we want to be like, whatever they doing, we need to do more of that. And we just kind of graduated from, not like we got too big, but our time had came, and we left that point, and we went into Hollywood, and we met up with this guy named Paul Stewart, and he had a promotions situation called PMP Promotions, and Brown kind of like moved into his house and was like helping him, and kind of like was under his wing and learned like so much stuff about how the business works from just being around Paul. And Paul knew a lot of people. And we needed a DJ, and Paul knew this guy named Kurt, a.k.a. Big Boy. Big Boy's a big radio personality in L.A. now, but he started off being our DJ. Lord. He lies and tells everybody he was our bodyguard, but we weren't big enough to need a bodyguard. Honest, he was a hella cool dude, and we needed to have him around. he needed to be around us, and it just worked. And he learned a lot. We learned a lot from him, and now he's like one of the biggest personalities in LA. But we just always was in a good situation, and we just maximize on the situation, and not really worry about what people say, because people like hate on you all the time and tell you what you can't do and what you shouldn't do and why you can't be successful. So we kind of like just came together. The group was 2 for 2. That was our dance group. Yeah. And we were doing stuff for like In Living Color. We danced with like Jim Carrey on some skits, and we danced with like J-Lo before she was J-Lo. And one of our good friends was Rosie Perez, and she helped us out. And this woman named Toni Basil, she had a lot to do with our career. She made a song called "Oh Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind." Hey Mickey, hey Mickey. That was her song. Wow. And she was like it was some, we called him like important people along the way. So we met up with Reggie Andrews, we met up with Paul Stewart. Before we met up with them, we met up with Toni Basil and Rosie Perez, and it was always people in our lives, key players. Yeah, key players or people that would like take us to somebody else, and we really appreciate all those people. Like we never like, they were important. You know what I mean? Like Rosie was so important, Toni Basil was so important, Reggie Andrews was so important, and Paul Stewart. Like those 3 people.
Yeah, it's like every time we met one of them was like pretty much like a transition period for us. So we meet one person and that was like a transition to a whole nother stage. Then we meet another person and transition to a whole nother stage. So I mean, we were just lucky. I mean, the dancing kind of like put us out there where we got to meet a lot of different people. Because like you said, we was choreographing, teaching people how to dance and stuff like that. So we used to have dance classes. We used to have like Bobby. You know,
all the Nickelodeon kids, all the Disney kids, Nickelodeon, all those fools, they used to be in our dance class.
Yeah, Mario
so when
Lopez.
You see them out there doing hip hop moves, we taught them how to move for hip hop in Hollywood.
So and so once they got to their positions, they kind of like, hey, this is the crew you guys need to check out. So it was kind of like it kind of worked for us because we didn't have to really go out there and self-promote like that. People kind of pretty much had our back, so it's cool.
We knew a lot of these people before we were the Pharcyde. So when we became the Pharcyde, people thought we knew these people because we were the Pharcyde. But we were like doing videos with Bobby Brown and New Edition and BBD and just all kind of shit like that. Guy, Teddy Riley, shit like that. So we was like chilling with these fools, but we was like just rappers, like we were just dancers. But we was like flies in the wall, seeing how they maneuver, seeing how they talk, seeing how they dress, seeing what the shit they involved in and shit. Yeah. So when we got a chance to do our thing, we had like a template. You know what I mean? Sometimes people go in with no clue which way up is. But Reggie like gave us so much foundation. So when we went in, we kind of knew like, just because you signed a record deal don't mean you're gonna be rich. Right. He had a story about the DeBarge family. He used to work with the DeBarge family. You know who the DeBarge is? Yeah. And he said when they had their biggest album, they were riding the bus. And just knowing those kind of things going in, it really helps you because you can be caught up in a fantasy land and thinking you see somebody, you think they're rich because they're on TV and shit. But that helped us so much, so much.
I wanted to ask you about Reggie Andrews too. Did he ever share any like Rick James stories with you?
Nah, pretty much. Reggie was more he was more like a writer producer, and he never had those. I say like those kind of stories we got more from like engineers we would work with that worked with other people. They would just drop and be like, yeah, when I was working with Tupac, you know what I'm saying, or when I was working with such and such, and they tell us like who they hated to work with, you know, just funny stories like that. But no, Reggie pretty much he just taught us the game. He just taught us like the essentials and gave us structure and just told us basically, you know, what to look out for, contracts, how to do this, you know, and so that's pretty much. And he's still around too. Like right now, Reggie is working with He's working with Thundercat. He works with
The internet.
The internet. He works with a lot of different people that's out there right now. He's still
Kumasi, Washington.
Yeah, he's still out there, like, you know, putting people.
They
on the
all went
scene.
through his program at Locke High School.
So yeah, so that's where we all. That's basically where we all kind of came from.
Tone Loc is another player that had a lot to do with our career too.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Johnny J.
Johnny J. Well, Candyman. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Candyman had like platinum records in America. Tone Loc, and those people was important because we was dancing and we got to like. He was dancing with Young MC and Tone Loc. He got to like do stuff like American Music Awards and go to New York before, you know, just to go to New York at one point was a world of information to come back with. And they was able to go to New York and come back and just, when you can see things for yourself, man, it's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you hear all the stories and they got the chance. So how we had to fuck with Tone Loc because we was dancing and Tone happened to be signed to Delicious Vinyl, right? And so that was one of the reasons why we signed to Delicious Vinyl, because we was like, damn, Delicious Vinyl got all that Tone Loc, Young MC money, and they ain't doing shit. And they in LA. So for a minute, it was like the perfect situation, but we outgrew Delicious Vinyl also. And that's pretty much, well, let's go back. The original setup of the group is, there's two members that's no longer with us, and you gonna ask the question. Let me just get it out. Let me just answer the question. Imani, Booty Brown, Fatlip, and Slim Kid Trey. That's how it started. Fatlip wasn't a solo rapper, and we had our own group. Fatlip wasn't in the Pharcyde at first, right? Well, he was in the Pharcyde. He wasn't in 2 for 2. And we had another person that was in the group. He decided to continue dancing, and he ended up dancing with like Janet Jackson and like. He kept on going as high as you can go dancing. And Fatlip used to hang out with us, and he came in the group. And really, we thought we was going to do 3 albums together, and then he was going to go and do his thing. But time goes by, shit happens. Before you know it, 2 years becomes 5 years, becomes 6 years. And the dynamics of the group wasn't really set up to be forever, because it was just a lot of chaos, explosive personalities, and stuff like that. And as you get older, you just like, not necessarily grow apart, but you just have a different reason for living, I guess. And he had a
different views of how you should, how you want things to go. And then, you know, everything comes to it's about compromise.
Right.
And then it's, you know, can you compromise, or what do you want to compromise?
So just to be honest, we broke up, things happened, we came back together in 2008, and then we came back together for Rock the Bells, and then something happened, and he told us as a group he didn't want to be in the group no more, and he wanted to be a DJ. And we was like, well, it is what it is. You want to do that. And then right after that, Trey had always wanted to be a solo rap artist. He tried to change his name, and he became the Legend of Phoenix. And that shit was whack as fuck. And that shit didn't work. And we was trying to tell him everything starts with the Pharcyde. You can't go out and do shit until we get everything straight here. And we had a lot of internal things that had to be corrected before you can bounce off to do something shit else. And we was telling everybody, you can't leave the group. It won't work. Not saying you can't leave the group. We're saying you can't leave the group.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You can do whatever the fuck you want to do, but you can't leave the group and you think it's gonna work, nigga. It ain't gonna work. So they went out, did their own thing, and came full circle to say, I gotta come back to the group so we can do the group thing, right?
Yeah.
So 10 years has passed. So basically, they've been out of the group longer than they've been in the group at this point, right?
Yeah.
So for us, we don't even consider that, but for the fans, it's so hard all the time, right?
Yeah.
So we don't go up there dissing them or showing any separation. We go out there and we play with the hand we're dealt, right? So you'll never see us shitting on them or talking shit about them because it's not really like that kind of party. So I don't know what the fuck them niggas be saying about me. I don't have no problem with them like that.
Yeah,
like we're grown, and I'm cool. Like I'd rather be involved with the situation with people that want to be there versus trying to convince somebody that they should do something with me. Right.
Right.
Cool with it. So if the fans, you know, I hope the fans can understand that. But I'm not gonna be like making excuses for the rest of my life. Like that age, that shit is like over like 5 years ago. But I understand that people want to ask the question. I have no problem talking about it. But we're never gonna get back together. I'm
He beat you to
46.
the punch.
I'm
Oh,
46
man.
years.
Oh,
I'm
man.
46 years old. I got a granddaughter.
Yeah.
That shit is done.
Yeah.
That was the time
Yeah.
that happened, and I can't
Right.
moonwalk.
Yeah, you can.
Nah, I can't moonwalk. There's no reason to go backwards.
Yeah.
Like, I've been there, done that. I want to go forward, and I'd rather make new mistakes than to make old
Yeah.
mistakes that I've made already. Like,
Yeah.
I like making new mistakes. I hate making the same mistakes over.
So let's talk about some of the memories you have. Like 1992, the first album, Bizarre Ride to the Pharcyde, comes out. What was it like in that time period?
Brown was upset
Yeah.
because he felt like the album wasn't complete, and the
Yeah.
record company put the pressure on us to turn in the record before it was ready.
Yeah.
And he kept saying the record's not ready. We should be able to finish it. We should be able to finish it. And that was the first them showing their ugly side.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, us being really having to deal with the business part.
Yeah.
Right?
They're trying to rush
And then we
it.
saw, okay.
Well, it started off like basically, you know, they of course at the time we wasn't teenagers. We wasn't 17, we wasn't 18. You know, we was in our 20s, and so when the deal went down, it was kind of like we were in that state where we didn't know where we were going to do with our lives. Like, we don't know which way it's going to go. We don't
Yeah.
know what's going on. So we're like, okay, we're 20 years old. Are we about to be bums?
Yeah.
Or what's really about to go on, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so when it went down, it was kind of like a weight off our chest. Like, okay, we're going to be able to do something. So we were excited on one level, but then at the same time, Dylan and talking to Reggie, he kind of told us what the game was. And so just at that time, just like doing the album, it was just, I've always like kind of like being in control of my own career. Like it never was somebody that was like, look, you should do this, you should do that. Like, I always want to just, even if I just sat there and listened, I want to just be involved in it. And I just didn't like the way that things were going. Like, it just kind of, it started out great. It was okay. You know, we got really faded. Did Soulflower, Brand New Heavies. That was kind of like the introduction to everything. We was like, yeah, we're about to be on this record. We're about to have all these people. But then, like, during the process, we were doing so many other songs we were doing and still experimenting with ideas because, you know, like, 21 years we had all this built up and we're about to release something for the first time.
Yeah.
So it's like you have so much data backed up that you want to just kind of release on the album, but kind of got stunted. Like, you know, I mean, people like it. I mean,
for sure.
unfortunately, like, you know, people liked it. So that was like the first period. Like, okay, we did it, and it kind of it kind of went good. It didn't go as good as everybody was saying. Like, now, you know, people.
It's great in hindsight.
Yeah,
Right,
but
right,
like
right.
when it first came out, it was just like, what are you guys doing? What the fuck is this? What
We
is
stayed
going
on the road. We had to work the
Yeah.
record. We had to do Lollapalooza for 2 years in a row to get it to gold status.
Yeah.
We didn't get a lot of radio play. We didn't get a lot of video play until Passing Me By, and that was like after. That was
like
almost
6 months, like
Right.
6 months or 8 months after the album was out. So it wasn't like an instant smash. Like,
Yeah.
people was like, it was just more or less like people were like, you know, people were like, oh, this is just different for West Coast kind of stuff, and they were like, had some kind of interest in it, but it wasn't like, oh, you guys are just blowing up and it's just whatever. It wasn't that. It wasn't that type of party.
not at all.
So
Do you guys recall like the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio? What
We're
that
not
felt
those
like?
guys. Hated it. I still, when it comes on the radio,
Yeah.
I turn it off. When it comes on the club, I go to the bathroom.
yeah, I wasn't like, for me, like, once something is over, I'm trying to do the next project. Like, I'm like, that's over. Like, it's done. Like, I can't, you know, like, I revel in the.
It's for you guys.
Yeah, it's for the fans. Like, you know, people like it. Oh, that's great. That's cool. But my thing is always wait till the next shit come out, you know. And I still feel that way. I still kind of carry that today. Like, okay, people see that, but wait till you see what I'm doing next. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of always been my whole appeal to everything. Because it's like you kill yourself once you just feel like you reached your pinnacle or you reached your top. Then it's like, you know what, you kind of like like I said, you just kill yourself, and I don't think like your spirit even feels the same once you're going out there. And what are you doing just to get to the same? Like, no, when I get there, I want to go higher than.
Yeah.
So I always tell people like my best work isn't even done yet. Like
Yeah.
it's still in here. It's just about how can I unlock it to put it out there for the people to understand what's going on.
We've heard the music so much, but by the time you guys get it, it's hard for us to get anything out of it.
Right,
That's
right.
why we on to the next. And when we came with the Lab Cabin record, that's kind of what happened. It took people a minute to understand what was going on with Bizarre Ride, and then we put out Lab Cabin. They're like, dude, this ain't Bizarre Ride. What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
This
it's like,
is different.
so
Who's
it's like every
who's
time-
Dilla?
So it's like every time we put out something, like I my thing is never to put out the same thing. Like I don't want to put out Bizarre Ride 3 or Lab Cabin 2. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to do the same shit. That's boring. Like it's not entertaining. Like the whole thing is trying to experiment, and maybe things won't work. Maybe it may not be the best thing that people like, but at least you try to do something different. Like you always want to do something different. But the key to the other twist to that is you have to take the success with the failure, because maybe you do something so different that people won't even catch up to it. And so that was always like our thing with pretty much with our records. Like people didn't catch up to like 5 years to Bizarre Ride, or like 5 years after Lab Cabin. And they're like, oh, okay, we see you changed the sound, and now we get that. Now we get that. So it's kind of effed up in a way, because you want to do something so different, and you want to do something that's like, completely different from what we did, but at the same time, you kind of lose your audience because you're doing something so experimental that your audience kind of be like, that's not, what are you guys doing? Like, if we came out and did something like, some house music or something like right now, which I love house music. I would love to come out and just do some house music and do something. But I don't know if my fans would appreciate us doing something like that.
They've known we was dancing the house music before we ever made any hip hop music.
Yeah. What was that scene like in LA?
No, I'm saying before we was the Pharcyde, we was dancing in Japan with this artist named Hiroko, and dancing to house music and techno music and shit. So for us to go there, it would be totally natural. But for the fans, they're like,
they'd be like, what is this? Like, no, they just doing too much drugs now. You know what I'm saying? but that's, I would love to do that. But like I said, that's, do you do that? And then people, once it's out there, you can't take it back. And then people look at it like, oh, they fell off. They're just not doing this, or they're not doing that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you just got, at this point, at the game, if I put something out now, I don't give a fuck. Like I feel like I just want to do something, and it's just gonna be whatever, and the people just accept it. And if it's whack to people, then so be it.
It's true you guys are fans of Kate Trinata?
yes,
Yeah, for sure.
big fan.
Maybe you guys should set something up.
Man, I like that Planet Rock remix is tight.
Nice.
I fuck with Selection.
Yeah.
Everything they got, I fuck with them. Fuck with Andres, fuck with Esther, fuck with Joe K. I fuck with, it's basically house music.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
That's right.
I fuck.
And you guys produce and DJ and stuff?
Produce is what we do.
Yeah. I feel I can get on the tables if I had to, but I feel bad going out there and DJing because I know so many DJs.
Yeah.
And the game is kind of crazy the way that it works. Because I can go to a club and I can say I want $3,000, $4,000 to DJ. But then I know a DJ that's been doing that for like 25 years, and then when he goes to the club, he can only get like $200 for the night, or maybe he can't even get that, So I kind of feel fucked up, like man, like here I am, I'm going out here getting the money. I'm not even half the DJ.
No DJ, record player. I play some records.
That's right.
I respect the DJ.
Yeah.
So I would never call myself a DJ knowing real DJs.
Yeah, like I said, I just feel fucked up. But people approach me like, hey, do you want to DJ tonight? I'd be like, yeah. Like that's not my field. Like if I had to, if it was whatever, something like an emergency or something, yeah, okay, I'll jump on the table.
Play what I like.
But to go out there and, like I said, take somebody's job that's been doing it for like, that's kind of heart-wrenching.
Wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So what are your like record collections like?
Oh, he collects records, plates.
I think like records for like
hard drives.
All right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how.
I've been a record for like I mean, my mom started me off with like a box of 45s, like Motown 45s and Disney records, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've always had a turntable.
Yeah.
So
What are some of your like prized possessions?
prized possessions,
Prize possession.
I say my first. I say my first.
You like it? Yeah.
One record that I have that always, and I never knew it. Like my mom had gave me this record called Pygmy Markham. You ever heard of Pygmy Markham?
Nah.
It's a record. His name is Pygmy Markham. It's called Here Come the Judge, and like I want to say the record was done in like 70.
That's Here Come the Judge. Here Come the Judge.
It's like done like 73, and like actually that's like really the first rap to me. Like that's like the first before hip hop, before Sugar Hill, all that.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to that record, the beat is like a hip hop beat. It's like comedy, and I never really kind of took that record. When I listened to that record, now I'm like, damn, this kind of influenced like how the Pharcyde is, because it's kind of comedy. It was like a rap, it had like the hip hop beat. So that's kind of like, I mean, it's not my most expensive record, but like it was like a record for my mom, and I never kind of like paid attention to it until like years after.
Yeah.
For sure.
So do you guys have like a method for digging? Like,
Digging?
Yeah.
The method.
It depends. Like we have a friend named, shout out to Andy, Record Jungle, Space Boy, Boogie X. He's involved with us on a lot of levels. I could just call him when I'm looking for anything. Like the last time I went and hung out with him, I was looking for some talking records that had like talking, not necessarily like music.
Yeah.
And my style, Andy. I need some talking records. I'm coming down. So Andy is my go-to. He introduced me to Andy, and me and Andy made a world of music. We toured the world together, made, I don't know, a couple of albums. I did an album with him, 2 albums, a couple of singles, and that's my dude. So
I say my record for digging pretty much is like, I'll see who, like, let's say if there's like Earth, Wind and Fire or somebody like that.
Yeah.
Then I'll say, okay, this horn player went to go do this with this band, or the drummer went to go do this with that band. So I kind of like figure out one person that kind of was working with the group, and then I'll follow. It kind of leads you on a trail, you know what I'm saying? Because once I follow that drummer, then like, oh, I like this record. And then you kind of like see this person went over to, it's like kind of like Bernie Worrell, right? So like Bernie Worrell played with Parliament, but then Bernie Worrell played with Talking Heads, but then Bernie Worrell played with a couple of other bands. So it's like you follow this trail of like all the people, and then once you get to Talking Heads, oh, I want to go to Human League, and then you want to go into the Duran Duran, and then you start getting involved in all the different little things of, so it's kind of like a trail, but records, it's up and down, you know what I'm saying? It's up and down. It depends how your money is. You can spend a lot of money on that. That's like
are you looking to?
It's like a crack addiction.
Are you looking to? Because you're looking for a collection, or you looking to make some beats? Because that would determine how you searching, and like he said, your price.
Yeah, like I mean, like
I need some horns.
Right.
You know
it depends. Like
sense.
sometimes I would just go get some records and not eat. Like that's how like the records is like this is important. I need this record. Be like, okay, instead of getting a fat burger today, I'll go get a 99-cent taco or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like then it gets serious like that. It becomes like an addictive type thing,
That's right. So you mentioned J Dilla and stuff. What was it about his production that you guys were attracted to?
We weren't attracted at all. We never heard of him. We went to New York to go work with all the people that we had messed with, because we had the opportunity to go out to New York. We went out there and hooked up with Diamond D. We went to go hook up with Q-Tip. We was in the studio with Q-Tip, and he was working with some other people at the time. I think Mobb Deep or something. He was mixing something, and he was like, yo, I met this dude on Lollapalooza. He gave me this tape. So we hanging out, doing the New York thing, walked the streets, went to Tip's house, chilling, and he played the tape, and the tape said John Doe. We thought he was lying, right? Because we're like, this nigga is lying. Ain't nobody named John Doe. He playing this shit, and if it's whack, he's like, oh, I gotta out just in case these shits is whack. It ain't my beats, but it was somebody named John Doe. He was Dilla, James Yancey, and we wanted to get a couple of beats, right? And we went to the record company. We're like, dude, we found him. This is the next. This is what you need to do. And they're like, man, why you want to pay this dude all this money? He's nobody. You guys supposed to get some big names, right? And we're like, this dude is gonna be somebody. He's gonna be a big name. Trust us, right? I put it on my grandfather. We was saying this. We was telling Dilla, dude, we not gonna be able to give it. You go, and he was like, nah, man, I'm gonna be around forever. Yada, right? So it just was a match made in heaven, dude. It's like sometimes you can't really answer those questions. It was a wave, and we grabbed the boards and we rode it. Like,
well, after we did like the first album, basically everybody that was making music kind of was like coming to us. Like reason why we like Primo or reason why we like Pete Rock, because it was like we like their beats, like we like the way you make beats. But then when we came up to them, they were like bringing music to us of what they thought we would like. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it wasn't like we were getting, like, I want hard New York, like, I want some amped up kind of stuff.
One love,
and they kind of was,
bitch.
They kind of was bringing us stuff like, oh, this just reminds me of Pharcyde style.
Jazzy,
so melodic,
style.
You know what I'm saying? It was just like,
we hated that term.
Trying to cater it to you.
Yeah, like, and that wasn't what we were looking for, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else was getting, you know, like, we was hearing all the, like, straight, you know, like, Tim was, like you said, Tim was working with, you know, Mobb Deep at the time. He was doing, like, Temperatures Rising and all that kind of stuff. We was like, that's kind of stuff we want, those kind of beats, you know what I'm saying? But, like, and every time people would get us stuff, it was like, you know what I'm saying? So that wasn't really our style. So we wind up just getting with JD because it was just like, it was unfiltered. It was like he just was doing his thing and it was like, these are the beats.
It didn't sound like he made these beats for the Pharcyde.
Yeah.
If there's something that you could say to him right now, what would you say to him?
I said that to him before he died. I went to his trailer. He did a show in LA, and he was stricken with lupus, right? And I hadn't seen him since we was in the studio recording. I went to his trailer and I waited for him, and he came to his trailer, and I was like, I told you. And he started laughing. I said, I told you you was gonna blow up. He was like, yeah, you told me, man. You told you gonna blow up. I was like, dude, it happened. And I was so happy that I got a chance to see him. Like, I had to see him because I hadn't seen him. Everybody was talking to him. And our last talk was, whatever you need, I got you, right? So I went to him. He died, right? And somehow we have my man is Tarak. Tarak is like an underling of Dilla. And we have merged and made like this partnership type of thing. And I feel like it was consummated because of Dilla. You know what I mean? Because he was on one end fucking with Dilla, I was on the other end fucking with Dilla. Dilla said, I got you, whatever you need. He dies, and then me and Tarak like become this situation. So I feel like he kept his word, right? That's how I feel. So he was a blessing, man. I mean, he everything he said he was gonna do, he did. He opened us up to a whole new world. What else could you ask for? I don't have anything to say to him. He did it. He came and blessed us and did it.
Wow. I wanted to ask you, where has music allowed you guys to travel? You must have some wild tour stories.
Nah, we can't tell no tour stories. We travel a lot. We just keep it there.
You guys have like a favorite place? Come on, you guys
Nah, some things, those that know, don't tell. Those that tell, don't know. So that's for our ears and our eyes. Just know we've been traveling the globe since 91, and it's 2017, and now we're in Toronto and we still doing things. Our last go round we was in Hong Kong and Singapore and Thailand, and it's just a blessing.
Yeah, we still keep hitting new grounds, you know what I'm saying?
We still haven't went to certain places. That's waiting for us to go.
Like I need to get to Africa.
Need to get to Vietnam.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I want to go to
get to Shanghai.
I want to go to South Africa and just see like the dancing there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like the shit to me right now. Little Dragon told me, he was like, you gotta go to South Africa and just see like that beat, that rhythm. That like once you get that in your system, it's kind of like hard to release that. That like that's the new.
That's raw, uncut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to ask you, man. Like going back to '92, like when Bizarre Ride came out, that same year, like in LA, things were crazy in LA. There's like the Rodney King riots and stuff. Do you guys remember where you guys were at that time?
Yeah,
what was that
actually
like?
at that time we were having dinner with Delicious Vinyl because we were thinking about how we were gonna, if we were gonna sign with them, and so we wind up.
We're at the Hamburger Hamlet.
We was at the Hamburger Hamlet.
Across from Man's Chinese
We
Theater.
was watching the TV and the riots was going on, and we were like, "Oh shit, this is going down!" Damn. Like right by where we were staying.
Right.
And so, as we left the meeting, the dinner, and going down the street, it was just turmoil,
Escape from
chaos,
LA.
fires on the street,
Cars
people running
turning
across the
over.
street, like
Yeah.
coming out of stores and TVs in hands, and it was just like whoa, this is like really new world kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah, well, I was 21.
yeah, it's.
You know what I mean? So we.
I mean, it people say it was bad, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah. 21.
It was kind of
Unruly.
It was kind of fun. Like
ask for nothing better.
like it was really like a release. Like whatever you had built up, like it was just like, damn, I get to just like let it out right now. But it got shut down real fast.
Yeah. We had about a week.
About a week, yeah.
About a week.
That's crazy. So what can we expect from you guys next?
Next,
Yeah.
it's no next. It's just a continuous thing that's going on. We had this thing called the Pharcyde, and it's like we got a TV show. We stream every Thursday night, Pharcyde TV. You can go on, and that's a rebroadcast every Tuesday night, Channel Z. You just go to PharcydeTV.com and you find what you're looking for. We do that, so hopefully that'll like open up some more doors. Brown is he's always working on music, and I'm working on music. So we don't really like sit up and wait, because you can't really you don't know how this thing happens, because when you try to make a game plan, this shit is evolving. You know what I mean? So now you perfected something from this era, and that's old, and now they're doing this. So you gotta be like water, man. You
Yeah.
gotta stay on top of your game and be like water, and when you're ready.
Want to be a boss. You know what I'm saying? I mean, man, I'm a fan of Rick Ross, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't like when I know that you're not supposed to, but everybody has their positive thing that I try to get out of it. And so when I mean boss, I mean like I want to be self-sufficient type boss. I want to be able to just do everything that we're doing, you know what I'm saying? Just escalate everything to the next level. Like you said, we're doing the TV stuff, want to do music, but more or less like promoting. I want to be like a machine where we promote our own kind of whatever's going on. Like Meech in the back right here, she's been helping us like for years. Like, so it's like I know all these people from around the world. Shout out to like Maggie from Australia, just Sally and Sarah from London, just like all these different people. So I'm trying to like
Bridge to
contain all this energy so that basically become a boss. And I'm not mean like a boss like, yo, I'm the boss, I'm the leader, but like a boss like we did this, and it's like a self-sustaining type of situation that my daughters, his sons, later down the line, they have something and don't have to work for nobody. Fuck working for somebody.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
That's what I say, you know what I'm saying? But
You can have partnerships, but you can work with people.
Right.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's what we want to do. We want to work with people.
But I think like the whole thing about it is like, for your kids, like that's what you're supposed to do for your kids, like you gotta show them like something that leave them something that's tangible, like leave them something that they can actually take upon themselves and they become their own, and then they your grandkids learn from that. They learn how to become the Waltons or however, the Walmarts kind of
Black people ain't got no generational
yeah, we
wealth,
don't
man.
yeah, we don't
So each generation got to fend for themselves, and that's what the problem is.
Yeah,
right?
we're like, it's like entertainment, which is cool. Like if your kid's gonna come up and rap or something like that, or they're gonna come up and sing. But you know, what if your kid doesn't sing? What if your kid doesn't rap? Like, what do you leave them? What can they have after that to just become something else and have so they can hire their friends and their friends, you know what I'm
Leave
saying?
them the blueprint.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. You guys have any last words for tomorrow?
Oh yeah,
session?
Pharcyde, the phantasmagorical, world famous, Pharcyde, every Thursday night, Pharcyde TV. You can go onto the website, the Pharcyde. We run all of our social media, YouTube site, Instagram site. Just put in the Pharcyde, Google it, and follow the links, and I'll see you there. He'll see you there. Hook up with my man Smooch. Hook up with my man Mike Ram. Hook up with my man Andy Spaceboy Boogie Record Jungle. Hook up with my man Tarak Love Turl. Smooch Cat, we out. Pharcyde.